John, I'm just going to move across to another question, and we just want to have a little talk about apps, all the different types of modern applications that are in our life that are there to make life easier. What are some of the ones that you use that you find are best, that are smart and productive and really worth us all knowing about?
Yeah, okay. So when I was looking at this question, I just thought, wow, it's such a hard one to answer because there's so many great tools and so many great, just really useful and beneficial tools that can make life so much easier. And even now, excuse me, even now I'm thinking of more that are just popping in my head. So I'm going to say those. There's a couple of platforms I use. One is called Todoist. And Todoist is a really great to-do list. Very simple, very powerful, and a great way. I think a lot of us sometimes can find that our email inbox becomes our to-do list, and that's super dangerous. There's a great concept called Inbox Zero. If you've not heard of Inbox Zero, look it up, Google it. There's a great presentation that was done at Microsoft about 10 years ago by the chap who came up with the idea, whose name escapes me. It's about an hour-long presentation, and you look at it and go, I don't have an hour to waste on hearing about how to manage my inbox, but you should, because it's actually really great. I use Inbox Zero. It's taken me about 5 years to refine it and get it to a point where it actually works for me, but it stops your inbox ruling your workday, and using tools like Todoist is a really great way to do it. There's also another tool which is a little bit simpler. I find super useful for just sharing notes and sharing lists. I actually use it with my partner a lot. We have our shopping lists in there and various bits and pieces, which is called Google Keep, just KWP, which integrates nicely with the G Suite set of tools. Speaking of G Suite, I'm a huge advocate. I ran a web hosting company for 10 years. I've used every single email server and email client out there and given it a try at some point. And you know, when I went snowboarding about 8 years ago, I migrated Pet Rescue's email to Google Apps, as it was called back then, using a Windows 95 computer in Japanese on a snowfield. And I've never looked back. And I'm very pro-change. If there's something better that comes along, I'll migrate to it. But the Google suite of products, or G Suite, is very powerful, very affordable. It's backed up for you. It's managed. It's anti-spam. There's antivirus. It's incredibly powerful. You know, if you're using Outlook or if you're using your webmail that comes with your web hosting account, stop doing it. There's better ways, much better ways to manage your email and your document collaboration and your live document collaboration, where 5 people are all working on one document at the same time and you can see what's happening in real time. Incredibly powerful stuff. I'm going to rush through these. Dropbox for file backup, for sharing data, for making sure that you don't lose anything is incredibly useful. There is a whole bunch of alternatives. There's a whole bunch of alternatives to each of these, but these are the ones that I like the most. Slack is an incredibly powerful tool for team collaboration. It also has an incredible story about how it came to be. There's a great podcast on, or a great episode of a podcast. The podcast itself is called How I Made This, and there's an episode on the chat that came up with Slack. A really interesting story. It was just something that a bunch of people were using as a tool, and then they thought, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe we should, bundle this up and sell it. And it's the fastest growing organization, fastest growing company in the US ever. So pretty cool stuff. Very useful, very powerful tools. Changed the way that Pet Rescue work and collaborate. Trello is another incredible tool made by Atlassian, I believe, which is an Australian company. Very useful collaboration project management tool. It's kind of the new evolution of how projects can be managed. Very great, very powerful, very easy to use, very low barrier to entry. You just get in there and start using it. Very customizable, very tailorable. As Peter said earlier about CRMs being need-based, I think that's something I completely agree with. And it's something that you see a lot in these tools, that they're very configurable, they're very malleable. And if you're looking at tools and they don't have that flexibility, then find another tool. Xero is a great tool for managing money, managing your finances, integrating with banking platforms, payment platforms, things like that. Yeah, the name again was Trello. Yep. And that's the correct spelling as well. Look into that. Very, very useful tool. Salesforce as a CRM, again, my CRM of choice. High barrier to entry, but really great, valuable tool set. If you're a non-profit or a charity, they will give you 10 free licenses for free. That's one of the free licenses. Shopify is a really great platform if you want to sell something online. If you want to sell t-shirts or you want to sell, cars or anything online, Shopify is a really great, very low barrier to entry tool that allows you to do that. Very cost effective, works well in Australia, and yeah, you can get in there very quickly and start selling whatever it is that you want to sell. And the last one I have on the list, which is another Australian startup, actually a Perth startup, is a platform called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. Really great tool for image manipulation and building, basically doing graphic design things if you're not a graphic designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I suck at Photoshop. I'm terrible at it. But Canva allows you to do some really great image manipulation work. They have a whole bunch of templates, and it's a really great, very powerful tool. So well worth having a look at if you need to dabble in that space.